Welcome to the Zesty Ginger Podcast. We are Megan and Dr. Alex. We are here for transformation. Yours, ours, and the collective. Personal and professional for practitioners. But not just any transformation. Compassionate transformation. Because between the two of us, we have seemed to have done things the painful way. Let our pitfalls become your stepping stones. We aren't afraid to share our raw and vulnerable truths in order to help you transform your thinking, your body, your heart, and your soul. Combining 15 years of functional medicine with brain-based habit change to lead you to the best life possible in a compassionate way. Compassion, yes, yet plan to roll up your sleeves. Transformation requires your participation. And a quick reminder, this information is not meant to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your doctor, not this doctor, before making changes. Now let's get into the episode. Hello everybody, Dr. Alex here with you. Welcome. It is season 18 on the podcast. Yay, we're so excited. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for helping us get to just about 2 million downloads. We are right there. So I just wanted to start this off by sharing so much gratitude and love towards you and just share how much it means to Megan and I to have all of you in our community and to have your presence and to share ideas with you and to all come together as a community. We just so appreciate it. So season 18 is kicking off a very special series that is near and dear to my heart. So this is going to be the start of a masculine and feminine focus in season 18. There are going to be other episodes along the way, but I have put together a rather extensive series on masculine and feminine. So before I explain why this is so important and why I have been planning for years actually to talk about this, and we are just now ready to really step into this topic and to bring focus to this in the world. It seems like everyone sure is ready for it, and whenever that lines up, we are there for it too. So before I get into all that, I just wanted to share a couple announcements. We had our money masterclass, how to generate more money and more results for coaches, leaders, and practitioners. If you go to zestyginger.com/money, you can catch up on that. I also wanted to invite you to our next group call where we meet. It's our free monthly meetup where coaches, leaders, and practitioners can network, learn more. And we're going to do on the 23rd of May, we will be doing my second part of dealing with difficult clients. Basically, this is where you get a little stuck and you're not quite sure what to do, and it seems like you're not making as much progress, or the client's upset, or whatever you got going on. Maybe it's refunds, maybe it's not getting money, maybe people not paying. Whatever it is, we'll be talking about it. You'll also be able to catch up on part 1 as well. So check out the show notes for that. All right, so getting right into masculine and feminine. Why did we bring this into the podcast? Well, we talk about wholeness. So we talk about transformation at the highest level, all of you. So all 4 bodies: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. The physical body gets a lot of press. The mindset, the mental body in recent years has been up and coming. Emotional body and energetic body, though, are still often very under-resourced. And of course, we bring that all together. So where does masculine and feminine meet? Well, we are all made up of aspects of ourselves. And the more expanded we are as a human, as a being, the more aspects that there are to us. So we will talk in terms of masculine and feminine energies, and depending on the evolution of the being that we're talking about, the expression of kind of the complexity goes up as we grow and expand and evolve. We step more into ourselves, and there is more to be found there, right? So when we talk about up-leveling in our 7-step transformation process, step 7 is integrating that bigger, more expanded you into your old life. And upgrading that and making that all work and making it all make sense. Within beings, then, is the concept that we have masculine and feminine energies. Because this is present, the lack of acknowledgement of it holds back resources from us, right? Basically, if you don't acknowledge that you're cold, you don't go put on more clothes or get blankets or turn up the heat. So anything that is not in our awareness cannot be intentionally impacted and used as a resource or as a tool. And if we have masculine and feminine aspects to ourselves and we don't look at it and we don't acknowledge it and we don't intentionally create experiences for ourselves the way that we would like, then that's where essentially it leaves us unattended. And this is where people really don't feel good within themselves, because it's one thing for someone else to abandon you or not see you or not value you. It is an entirely different experience to agree with someone on that because it's also coming from you, right? Now there's two people having that experience, and when you are doing that to yourselves, it has a particularly icky and negative feeling to that. So that's why it came up for me. So my awareness of masculine and feminine really came out of deep dysfunction in this area. I didn't really understand this. I didn't really think about it. It was not in my awareness, and I didn't have a way to understand what was happening, kind of. So it's often the case that we don't really understand what's happening until something is not working. And for me, that was my relationship in this regard. But to be honest, it was my whole life was impacted by this. As it started out with awareness of some malalignment in my what is now previous marriage. But as I began to look at that problem area and see issues that were happening, I then began to see how much those aspects of me being underutilized and with lack of awareness, how much that was trickling out to the rest of my life. And I realized that if I exist as what I perceive as a predominantly feminine being, and this is not about genders at all. This is not what sex someone is. This is men, very burly men can be very feminine, and very feminine looking, girly looking women can be masculine. So these are energies. These are expressions. But as I began to look at my feminine nature and the way that I was living a very masculine life, in medicine especially, I was trained to go by schedules and time blocks and push through things and be strong and get over things and push on my emotions. Not that that's actually masculine, just that's kind of societally how we talk about it. All of those things then had consequences. That was not who I was. And whenever we fail to recognize who we are and put ourselves into environments and expectations where that's not matched, it's not hard to see how problems arise from that. And so part of my physical body illnesses that I had, I do believe were a consequence of living like this. Whether we call that overworking or adrenal burnout, where did that come from in me? Well, it came from my masculine pushing because my feminine was terrified and unhappy and didn't like what was happening, right? And so while I had made a lot of progress on physical body, I still had consequences of it from the symptoms that remained. And then mentally, emotionally, spiritually, what it looked like for me was feeling lost, feeling stuck, feeling negativity. I was experiencing anger, which was not at all something that is common for me. I was having a lot of depression, anxiety type of the interplay, popping between those two. My emotional body was really speaking to me, and it was showing me how much pain I had under the surface. And that pain then was matched with the mental body thoughts that I was having of I'm stuck, I'm confused. I have followed all of the check boxes that I think I'm supposed to. I did good in school. I got a great job. I married the nice man who is kind and purposeful and has a good job and has an amazing family and all of that. And it didn't make sense to me why I was so unhappy and so miserable. And I realized that I had much less to do than what I was attributing to those external factors, right? Because with that anger, I can, share honestly, not that I'm proud of this, but I had anger towards my partner at the time and was getting into blaming and victimhood and all of that. And in acknowledging this aspect of me, I got to release him and the rest of my life from being at fault. I realized through doing this kind of work and through acknowledging this that it wasn't because we had done something wrong. It wasn't because we had intentionally wanted to hurt each other. It wasn't any of that. And I could release anything that was in the way of that. I could just see it for what it really was, and that we had been playing a game and that we had been hurting each other unintentionally in the process of my needs are met, I'm not being authentic, but if you do this, then it makes me feel better. And he was doing, well, I won't speak for him, but in my view of it, it seemed like it was reciprocal. And within there, in doing kind of the post-game analysis as we begin to lovingly and intentionally move away from our marriage and begin to take that apart, what we realized was that we both had, I will say, messed up. I don't really mean we didn't do anything wrong, but we had both contributed to these things that we're talking about in masculine and feminine dynamics. And in doing so, in acknowledging that, we had a lot of healing. So I will mention the Conscious Uncoupling book. It's good stuff. That's not what the focus of this podcast is, but yeah, basically it brought a lot of healing. So not only did this contribute to issues, first of all, but second of all, it contributed to a lot of resolution. And so I realized in thinking about this that I wanted to bring this to the podcast, because if I am realizing that my money's impacted by my masculine feminine expression and the balance that I have, and my business results that I want with Megan and I, and the certifications, the way that I'm able to do those, 7 days, they're intense experiences, they're a lot to facilitate, and it's also our favorite thing to do. And so moving through those with energy and clarity and vision and really showing up powerfully as me has been incredibly transformative. And whatever is true for us, as Megan and I began to heal this and work on it, and talk to our one-on-one clients about, then we began to see how much it snowballed. I mean, this kind of work, very, very quick results can happen because it's so foundational that it permeates every single part of our lives. It's just who we are. So if we don't acknowledge who we are as it relates to all of these other contacts in our life, like the areas of life that we show up in, then changing or making changes or bringing awareness to just one area can then have a huge ripple effect on the world. And with that, what my hope is that other people experience what I have experienced from working in this and addressing it. Because when you think about the opposite of everything that I shared, right, to go from completely exhausted in life to empowered and strong and intentional and purposeful, aware, have vision, have clarity, be able to make choices, to be able to speak and share what's going on internally and to ask for what is needed and to process emotions and to speak kindly to oneself, to feel safe and secure regardless of how life is lifing. These are big things, and these are worth fighting for, in my opinion. So I invite you to come on this masculine and feminine journey with me as we go through this podcast series, and to really begin to bring this into all aspects of how you show up. Because all of these things that I've experienced from it, the benefits, I really want that for the world. I think that with that intentionality, the clarity of vision, the ability to make choices not from a knee-jerk reaction, but from awareness of your highest identity and who you want to be and how you want to show up in the world, this is how we can change the world together. This is one person at a time, one shift at a time, one result at a time. We can make a huge difference in the world and do so in a way that feels calm and kind and loving towards ourselves in the process, not just to self-development as fast as we can and rip the Band-Aid off and cause ourselves pain, but actually bring ourselves healing in a way that's gentle and loving and everything that we often crave out in the world, but have the capability to create in ourselves and cultivate for ourselves. And that's really the heart of what we will talk about in this series. I am so glad that you are here. I will catch you on the next episode, and I'm sending you so much love.